what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it. Rambo says, well, what do you know? Another good QB, another good wide receiver. I thought after week one, LSU wouldn't see any more good offenses like LSU or FSU. Well, to be fair, I don't think many of us had Brady Cook and Luther Burden tearing up. Yeah, I didn't think many of us had Brady cooking.
Yeah.
That's the way to say that. I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think many of us had Mizzou being undefeated and ranked going into this game in Como. I don't think many of us had LSU with the literal worst defense in the Power 5 and 125th in the country as we laid out yesterday. Again, we sit here. What's the Bible say?
A lot of things.
You know, you're talking about the speck in my eye. You ignore the plank in your own. Are we not that a-hole? We're sitting here clowning Alex Grinch in USC, and we're like half as good, legitimately, numbers-wise, less than half. I think
the better comes Iowa.
Yeah.
We're Iowa. That's what we are.
Oh, I know, yes. We are Iowa, but in verse.
Yes.
I just mean like we make fun of USC for defense.
Right.
And we are not just worse, we are significantly worse. We are almost doubly worse.
Yeah, total defense, they're still like 102, I believe USC is, but like stop rate, yeah, we are.
Yeah, stop rate USC is like 30-something.
Yeah.
In the country. You're 125 in the country, not 30-something in the Power 5, 30-something in the country, to be clear. Mizzou's like 66th, so you know they're double better than
total
you as
defense,
well.
though, than the top 40.
Mizzou's weird. They're
Good run
very good at
defense.
stopping the run. They're pretty awful at the pass. In fact, when SEC Mike did his breakdowns of the biggest mismatches this week, most of them were the Mizzou pass offense against LSU's defense, but the other one was LSU's offense against LSU's pass offense against the Mizzou pass defense. So like Jaden and company should get ready to ball again. Fonz Fonzarelli says, everyone just go ahead and get your mind ready for Mizzou to score 40 plus. Just pray and hope that we can get 1 or 2 stops, or pray that Mizzou makes mistakes, hurt themselves to stop drives somehow. Yeah, I mean, Jake, it's kind of funny, but like,
Don't love that.
but that is correct though, right? Like that's what you have to. I would much rather it's the classic thing how you handle a lot of things. Like you expect the worst, and if it gets any better, well, that's a dub. You know, that's a W. So if I go into this game expecting Mizzou to score 40. And they score 30? Hell yeah. Okay? That's better than I expect. I'm going to feel good about that. What that does call into mind, though, is how much offense do you like, or how much pressure? We talked about it in game, how much pressure the offense is feeling, but the Ole Miss game felt like the final statement of, actually, guys, this defense is awful. And so every week now, like now it's interesting where the offense is kind of approaching the game knowing they have to score 40 plus.
Yeah, and it's a bad feeling knowing that you have to be perfect on one side.
Yeah.
Like it truly is. And I guess the only example I have is like when we were so bad in special teams and so good on offense and defense, like the offense probably felt like they had to be perfect, but like, think about that. Like, if you're this offense and you know you're explosive and you know you're one of the best in the country, you're 6th in total offense right now, right? And you know that you're going out there and you're putting up 40-plus points a game and you're having all this success. It's like, well, we have to. We can't. Like, the Ole Miss game, Ole Miss got some stops in the fourth quarter, a couple, and that was the difference in the game. But, like, you feel like you have to be perfect. That's a bad feeling to have, too. It's a bad feeling to feel like you have to carry the weight of the other side of the football. That's offense or defense, because when you try to play perfect in football, I don't think it's going to ever be the best version of you.
I would also say that I need to see an adjustment out of the coaches when it comes to situational play calling. I mean, Jake, I don't care. I mean, like, I do the 3rd and 5 that we keep talking about from last week. I don't like the rollout call or whatever, especially not coming out of timeout. But like coming out of timeout, what should have been discussed is, hey guys, we're going for it. We're running 2 plays. Like it's okay. Again, I'll give you a pass last week because you had not yet accepted the harsh, bitter truth of what this defense is. But you don't get another pass this week. If Luther Burden and Cook are rolling and you have a chance to hold on to the ball, I don't care about giving to him on the 15 versus giving it to him on the 50. Mm-hmm. If they're just gaining 9 yards of play like Ole Miss. It is what it is. You keep the ball. You rely on your best side of the ball to win you the game. Do not give the ball back like you did this last game. So the coaches as well have to adjust their evaluation on these situational decisions. When it comes to how the defense is going to be better, Jake, what's your key? Because it doesn't seem like they can be, but if they're going to do something, what does it look like?
I mean, it sounds so simple, but also you can just tackle better. I mean, it's not like these players haven't grown up being elite tacklers. I mean, that's why they're at LSU. That's why they were recruited to LSU, right? They showed on tape that they can do all the things you have to do to play at LSU. And we can get into coaching and adjustments and all that. It's certainly a part of the story, but also having effort in your tackling ability, right? Moving your feet, getting in front of the runner, not just leaning over and trying to fall into ankles, right? And taking good angles and not going for the Sports Center top 10 hit, just going for the I got to get my guy on the ground type situation. Like that can make you be 10% better right there just based off the tape. And also like take pride in knowing what you're doing as well. Like no missed assignments. When I see 10 guys doing whatever it is, 10 guys in man and one guy in zone, that one guy that's in zone, you can't tell me that the other 10 guys got the signal and you missed it because it's somebody else's fault. That's your fault.
Yeah.
You've got to go out there. You've got to make sure you have attention to detail. Like those are things that are easy. Those are things that are incredibly fixable. I mean, they are, but like you had so much of it, how long is that process going to be?
Well, at a certain point, at this point with the LSU defense, Jake, I feel like mental mistakes almost have to loom larger than physical. Because physically, none of these guys seem great, right? Physically, all of them seem like if they go against a great receiver, they're going to get beat. So I want the guy who at least is going to be in the right spot. And so if you are that one guy, well, then you got to you got to come out. And we're going to put somebody else in. I guess the problem is right now that you put the other person in, and then they do something similar, and then somebody else does something similar, and so eventually you just can't solve it. Make the defense.
No, you're too far into the season too, and we're not talking about. Not all these players are true freshmen. Like you've been here.
Yeah.
Like certainly you've been here throughout a spring practice, even if you are a freshman for the most part, right? Very few of these guys don't come in early anymore. Like you don't really have an excuse.
Make defense great again says, when rewatching the film, did anyone notice a lack of effort defensively? Like the defense expect the offense to bail them out? Effort's always such a weird thing to discern. I think what you saw at the end of the game was a defense that had been broken in more ways than one. Their spirit was broken. Their confidence was shattered, and they were exhausted because guys did look like they were moving through molasses, like they had concrete shoes on. I mean, they kind of looked slow the entire game, but especially by the end of the game, it felt like they were moving in slow motion. But I think it was, you could, and maybe that is an effort thing, but just how I view it is more that look, what do we always talk about in football? The greatest feeling is breaking your opponent's will. Mm-hmm. When they know that you are superior to them to no matter what they want to do, like that's what Ole Miss did to you. And then also they ran a million plays. And so you were tired as hell. And when you're broken, you're getting punched, and you're tired, well, you roll over. And that's what happened.
Yeah, and effort sometimes can be not that you're being lazy as well. Like sometimes it's just like thinking you can get by having bad technique. Like effort comes into like having heart and desire to go out there and go fast forward and do everything you can, but also like effort is efforting your mind to make sure you're doing the right things that you have to do, the things that you were coached to do, the things that you've done your entire life. Like never in the history of football is somebody taught to stand still and just try to lean over and tackle somebody.
Yeah.
Never in the history of football has a coach ever said that. Not one time. But I saw that twice on film that made me incredibly angry. Never in the history of football has someone been taught to duck your head, dive, and hope that your shoulder pads hit somebody's ankle. Never in the history of football has that happened, right? So, like your effort can be, yes, your heart, your desire. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to run like my hair's on fire. But it's also putting into your memory some of the technique that you've learned throughout your life, throughout your time at LSU, throughout spring practice, throughout fall practice. And like, yes, so like the effort there mentally was not, on display every single play.
Michael says, only had a 5-star defensive lineman on the bench to put in when the defense is tired. Guys, look, I liked the Deshaun Womack sack 2 games ago as well. I like the pressure. He looks to be supremely talented. I want him to play as well, but like too much is being made of it. Too much. Now, I will say this. The one way in which this LSU defense, I think, comes up with stops is if this D-line can finally start playing to their potential. So, maybe Pete Jenkins gets them crowded up at the ball, kind of refocused on the fundamentals, find themselves. And so within that kind of lens, Deshaun Womack, he can have an impact for sure. But I guess I'm just seeing a bit too much of like, if you play Deshaun Womack, everything else is going to fall into place and everything's going to work. Like, no, I mean, I think there's a lot deeply wrong with this defense. But I do believe that getting a pass rush out of your D-line, your most talented group, is actually your best chance for pass coverage.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, I don't think it's even really remotely close. Like, the pass coverage right now, it is what it is. And Taylor, do we know anything about Deuce Chestnut? Like, has that been said at all over there?
Kelly hasn't said anything. I mean, the last time they just asked him on Monday, like, hey, why didn't Deuce Chestnut travel? And he said it wasn't. He said it wasn't an injury. It was a coach's decision. I mean, that's all he said.
Clearly your best guy.
Yeah.
And honestly, he was in fall camp.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not something new.
And he came out with that pick against Florida State. I mean, he's clearly, even if he gets beat,
even when he got
clearly your best guy.
Yes, even when he got beat against Florida State, it was more because of the physical nature of the matchup and not because he wasn't in the right spot.
Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.